Hey, Jody.
Hello.
Do you mind if we ask you a couple questions where people can get to know you better?
Sure, why not?
Let's start with how many cities or states have you lived in?
I've lived in 5 cities.
Who's your favorite music artist?
Tom Waits.
Cats or dogs?
Both.
Do you have any pets?
A cat and a dog.
Okay. People might not know this about you, but you have 2 daughters. What's your favorite thing about being a girl dad?
Everything. We said we only wanted to have 2 kids because we didn't want to run the risk of having a boy. We've since learned boys are okay too.
What do you do when you're not working at the museum?
Think about the museum.
Do you have any interesting hobbies?
Meditating, reading, cooking. Oh, you said interesting? No.
What's your favorite book?
A river runs through it. It's the perfect mix of philosophy and religion and nature. I used to read it once every other year. It's a great book for a fall evening. Maybe I'll read it this fall.
Do you collect anything?
We usually get a mug from wherever we're visiting, but my wife has told me we have too many mugs, so magnets.
What do you have an all-time favorite quote?
If history were told in the form of stories, it would never be forgotten.
Let's ask you a few more.
Great.
All right, you mind if we keep going?
No.
All right, so how many pairs of shoes do you own?
Not as many as people think, but I do have a few distinctive pairs, so people think I have a bigger collection than I do.
Do you like pineapple on pizza?
I don't, but I'm not angry about it like some people.
Winter or summer?
Oh, that's hard. I love winter when there's snow over Tower Grove Park, but probably summer, the Muni, Shakespeare in the Park, and friends visiting from out of town.
What's one item on your bucket list?
Traveling to Amsterdam or taking a narrow boat tour through the canals of England.
If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Rice and beans? I know I'm supposed to say something fancy, but rice and beans?
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Who would you want to play you in the movie about your life?
Someone who understands my love of St. Louis, so I guess one of the Johns, Goodman or Ham, or Kevin Kline or Sterling Brown.
What's the best show or movie that you've seen recently?
Oh, Joe Pera Talks With You. It's sweet, it's funny, it's Midwestern in all the best ways.
What do you like to cook?
I like cooking new recipes, so every week I'm trying to find something new. But I do like when the girls ask for my asparagus and mushroom risotto.
And 3 dream dinner companions, dead or living?
Annie Malone, the country's first female African-American millionaire who made her riches right here in St. Louis. Irma Rombauer, who wrote The Joy of Cooking, but was known more for throwing great parties. And Joseph Pulitzer, because he could write about the whole thing.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions. Do you mind if we do that?
Sure, you want to go to my office?
Sure. All right. So, what do you think is the most underrated thing about St. Louis?
It's a great place to raise kids.
All right. Using only 3 words, how would you describe St. Louis?
Oh, say hi to Tamaki.
Hey, Tamaki.
3 words to describe St. Louis. Proud, dispirited, contradictory.
What are you most excited about in your new role?
Finding new ways to tell St. Louis stories.
All right, and what exhibit from your time at the Missouri Historical Society are you most proud of?
I do not pick favorite kids. I do not pick favorite exhibits.
And what's your favorite non-St. Louis museum?
The National Building Museum in Washington, D.C. I'm gonna go sit down.
Okay, go right ahead. What's your guilty pleasure TV show?
Oh, there's no need for guilty pleasures. I probably should be guilty for the number of times I've watched certain West Wing episodes.
All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, how funny would you say you are?
That's a better question for my staff, but I don't necessarily need to know the answer.
What's your most prized possession and why?
Big Bunny, Big Bunny is a stuffed animal that my grandmother-in-law gave my wife when she was a kid and that both of my children slept with when they were kids.
What's your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
What's your astrological sign?
Sagittarius, but I have no idea what it means.
What's your biggest irrational fear?
I'm claustrophobic, so even though I love all things St. Louis, I could never go to the top of the arch.
If you could travel back in time, when would you go?
Summer of 1874, when the Eads Bridge is about to open, and people were scared that a bridge like this couldn't possibly stand at that spot in the river. It's now the oldest bridge on the Mississippi River that you can still cross.
What does an ideal weekend look like for you?
Some time to read, some time with family, maybe dinner and a show, and if there's golf on TV, all the better.
What's your favorite St. Louis food?
Toasted ravioli.
What was your favorite subject while you were in school?
Art history.
What are 3 words that your friends would use to describe you?
Oh, I don't know. I would hope that they would say kind, loyal, passionate.
What is your most used emoji?
I don't actually know how to do emojis. Sometimes I just type out thumbs up emoji.
Who do you prefer to watch, the Blues or the Cardinals?
I'm more check the scores kind of guy, so both, and I look forward to checking the soccer scores soon.
So, most interesting aspect of being a transplant to St. Louis?
People don't actually care where you went to high school.
That's fair, that's fair. So, what do you never leave the house without wearing?
Glasses, at least if I'm gonna drive.
What advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Find a way to get to St. Louis faster.
If you could only take one physical item with you on a deserted island, what would it be?
One of my journals.
What's your favorite restaurant of all time?
So the favorite meal I've ever had was at Niche in St. Louis, but probably my favorite restaurant is Booch's in Columbia because I used to eat there every Friday for lunch.
What is the most interesting college course that you've ever taught?
The American Urban Crisis.
Which social media do you use the most? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok?
TikTok. No, I'm just kidding. I'm too old. Facebook.
What is the most interesting time period in history?
Every time period is interesting. You just have to find the right stories.
When did you first become interested in working at a museum?
I didn't become interested in working in museums until we fell in love with St. Louis, but a neighbor when I was growing up, their mother always took us to museums, so I've had a love since the very beginning.
Do you have a favorite word, and if so, what is it?
Lanyap means a little something extra.
What's one thing about the Missouri Historical Society that you think everyone should know?
We can introduce you to a St. Louis you've never met, even if you've lived here all your life.
So, gotta ask, what's your most controversial STL take?
I used to say that St. Louis drivers aren't as bad as people say. But since the pandemic, I think they've gotten worse, so I don't have a controversial take anymore.
What's your favorite pair of shoes?
The ones I'm gonna buy next.
And last but not least, which STL History Minute has been your favorite to make, research, or be on?
Probably the one about Logan Uriah Rivas. I admire his love of St. Louis. He loves St. Louis so much that he wanted to move the nation's capital here, and I also admired his beard.
All right, that's all the questions we have. Thanks for giving us your time.
Thank you very much. I'll get to work.